let's not pretend that these tools, the technology and the people behind it are in kind of a league of their own.
Something will roll out, we'll all get excited, we'll try it out, then we'll realize that it's either fascinating or disappointing on multiple levels. But quietly, somebody somewhere has lost the opportunity to do the job.
Whenever I've tried to use it for something, it'll say, okay, blah, 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 I've got you this. Do you want that one more thing which will make this amazing? Like, why didn't you give it to me in the first place? Then again, do you want that one tip which will make this,
When you pick up so many things you think will last for a very long time, and then for whatever reasons, both intrinsic and external, you might end up dropping them.
And the last one that I've tried is NotebookLM, which honestly I'm bored of the look. Like, it produces an output which looks the same, and today, like, even Modi ji had an ad with it.
You don't want to put your entire team and resources on proof of concept, right? Like it's like trying to, I don't know, do a Khan's pitch when you don't have actual business.
Two of the most powerful people in the world of AI, the CEOs of OpenAI and Anthropic, in our view, are being a little flip-floppy. A couple of years back, or maybe even a year back, they said AI is coming for you. It will take all your jobs. So many white-collar jobs will no longer exist. And then now, this year, suddenly, maybe in the light of upcoming IPOs, they say, maybe not. Maybe your jobs aren't so much at risk. Maybe we're just doing a little bit of rearranging of the furniture. What's happening? What's real, what's not, and what can we expect? And is the real answer truly, we have no clue? Let's talk about all this and more in a world where AI is always coming for us. Welcome to Small Talk, Work, Play, Build. I'm Subha Chandrasekharan, Leadership and Career Growth Coach.
And I'm Hasita. I'm a brand consultant and co-founder at Motley Group.
What do we do?
Breathe. I think yeah, parallel disruptive forces, right? Again, I think for a lot of people listening to this, there is a front-facing villain. So I think for a lot of people listening to us, frankly, even pondering what the hell is happening in the world of work, it's a compounding situation, right? It's not that one force, we've said this before, is the villain. It appears to us because we are excited about AI. News cycles are excited to give us, headlines about AI. And I think in some ways it's also pushing a lot of leaders working on AI to be out there a lot more, to do a lot of press and media tours.
Yeah.
And therefore we are hearing that much more. So I think it's becoming a little bit of a self-perpetuating cycle also. Which is where I think the discretion cannot be the role of one individual, right? Like if I am interested in all things AI, or if I'm a podcast about AI, then I cannot only be studying AI trends or talking about what does AI do alone. I also have to pick up information and synthesize knowledge from various places, I think. Apart from that, deep breaths. I mean, what else will you do?
I think what is kind of concerning is that, again, we've seemed to have put ourselves in the hands of a few, right? I mean, it's bad enough that global wealth is in the hands of a few. Now, global technology power is again further concentrated. If OpenAI is saying that, okay, today my revenues are about 25 billion, and by 2030, I want to be 10x that. Now, I mean, they're seeing that that's possible, right? And you're going to give so much control to one entity, which means you're going to give that much control of what happens to work across the globe in the hands of a few. And as we've seen, like, some of my friends, senior leaders in technology, managing large AI projects or mandates, etc., for transformation, have been saying that between December of last year and this year, the months of this year, the capability of AI has exploded exponentially. What could be done in December is nothing compared to
Agreed.
what could be done, which is in a way what these CEOs are saying, right? Like they're actually saying slow down because somewhere the tool is overtaking us and we don't know where it's headed.
The more sensible ones are saying that. And then some people are countering that by saying maybe this is a marketing ploy that these guys are employing to show the world that, our models are so advanced. And this is just a subtle way of. So, I mean, everything with a pinch of salt, I would say. I'm also thinking that to what you said earlier about concentration of, resources, right? In today's world, technology is a very valuable and rich resource. Which then translates into economic value and all of that. I came across this post yesterday. Actually, let's open it since we have that. So I came across a post that essentially says that AI company safety practices fail to meet any baseline, labor code, resource code anywhere in the world. And you remember a few years ago there was this expose that was done on how a segment of the world dumps its garbage in developing countries, right? You're outsourcing the garbage problem for a fee in exchange for some amount of money. In many ways, the data centers are becoming that, right? In some of the states in India where we have centers being set up right now, we don't have the basic water, land, resources needed to, make this sustainable. And what's sad to me is yesterday I came across this post and then one of the comments said, but in a certain state that she was referring to in the comment, the water that is wasted into the sea every year is a few thousand times more than what a data center would use. So why are you complaining about that? My question there is, if a few thousand liters of or gallons of water are heading to the sea, is there not a bigger problem there that we are not seeing at all? We are saying we are running out of fresh water, but we are happy to let all of that go. So, but for a data center, there's always water available. So,
no, I think I saw a similar story which talked about some state or some town successfully getting a contract for a global data center, and I was trying to figure out, is this a positive headline or negative? Because it is going to eat away at local resources for somebody else to make a whole lot of money. So I think that's what we're grappling with. That on one hand you told us all white collar jobs will disappear. Now you're like, no, hold on.
Some will disappear, but some will not, and we don't know which is which, and we'll figure it out.
Correct. And initially it was just about automation. Now you are replacing entire human beings in terms of what they can achieve, because you are able to create agents which can mimic everything that the person was doing, right? And like you said, instead of exporting software, we're now exporting these agents. I like, what next? I think maybe we all just admit we don't know. Right? And start from there, rather than sitting on a whole bunch of assumptions.
I mean, this has been our experience with a couple of conferences we attended, thinking someone else knows more than we do. And finally, what we've all figured out is no one knows, everyone is afraid. The reasons for that fear are not very well understood or articulated, and we are still leading. So the blind leading the blind is happening by default.
And I think the frustrating part is that those making these predictions are the ones making the tools, right? So it's very convenient. Like now you have to look at everything like what are you scheming here? What is the underlying intent of what you're putting out there? Is there something coming up that we don't know about that's going to impact the workforce even more, right? And all this to say that let's not pretend that these tools, the technology and the people behind it are in kind of a league of their own. We don't know what's happening there. It's a black box, right? And at every stage, we're only going to be left holding the consequences.
That I think is a very rational point to, I think, ponder on a little more honestly. The grappling with consequences seems to be the one standard of the last year, right? something will roll out, we'll all get excited, we'll try it out, then we'll realize that it's either fascinating or disappointing on multiple levels. But quietly, somebody somewhere has lost the opportunity to do the job that, right? That has happened. It has happened in the smallest of systems, it's happening in the biggest of systems. And finally, if I'm spending money between tokens and human beings, which is what a lot of our organizations are doing now, where they're burning tokens at a rate unknown, I mean, how would you know? It's too new. In that context, how do you then decide that you know what you're doing? You don't, right? I think we're all experimenting. I've seen some fantastic use cases for AI in my industry already.
No doubt. I think, see, we are also users, right? And at the end of the day, we are using it in so many smaller ways. And whether it's, putting out some social media post, or whether it's a piece of writing, or whether somebody is using it to cut a video, even the small players are using the tools. There's no doubt that you're able to do more, do faster, maybe do slightly neater, cleaner
output at least.
right, from an output perspective. Better if that was not your skill set, then yes, even better than how you could have personally done it. But all of that is just, I think we just say, hey, there's a big black box. So what do? I am this person who has educated myself, who needs to make a living, right? I need to, for it, in the best case scenario, not be a job but be a career, right? And I think the heaviness that I'm left with is there anything called a career? Is because what was career in the first place was something that you did over a long period of time that required certain skill sets, and by doing more of it you kept honing it and becoming an expert at it. And career, when you made something your career, there was also an element of you enjoyed doing it.
But apart from that, we also, as part of careers, went through a bunch of changes, right? It's not that, sure, I mean, it's a lot more clear and present right now, but questions on relevance, questions on if I've been with the same organization for, say, 2 decades. There are some that will value it, there are some that will see that as a hindrance. Working with newer generations of people, working with older generations of people, reporting to each other. I think these challenges have existed irrespective of whether I think a disruption of the scale and size was in the picture or not. Which is to say, I think also, and maybe this is a little bit of a, I don't know, a happy perspective, which I say with a frown on my face for some reason. But I think it's okay to acknowledge that there may be fulfillment even in this curvy career that we have the opportunity to build now. I think what is missing perhaps, and maybe something for us to be a little more active in terms of reflecting on, and that's also a note to self, is to really sit down and say, what am I learning? Who am I becoming as a compounding effect of all of these things, right? Because I'm just looking at one thread, which started, funnily enough, with the first Avengers movie in 2012, right?
Okay.
And Nick Fury says that, until basically I'm paraphrasing, but he says, until such a time as the earth stops spinning, we intend to continue as though it intends to continue spinning. That's the idea. And somehow in the last few months, because the pressures have been applied on us to, say, what are we doing? What is our role in the systems that we are part of? And by virtue of being vendors, I think that pressure is more imminent. We are now in the very last stages of knowing exactly with a lot of sharpness and clarity what we want to do and what we stand for. I think that is something I have put off unless that pressure was placed on me. Because it's easy to operate at status quo in a world that is not asking you to change, right? In status quo, you make money. But when you're not making money and that default is taken away from you and a lot of trust is eroded in the process, you sit down and ask yourself, what do I want to do? And funnily enough, it has brought me closer even to the ecosystem that I'm building than it had in the past.
Fair enough. So, you know what I'm actually hearing you say, that you should aim for work, play, and build.
That, of course.
I think that's what I heard you say. It was just so loud and,
Clear.
in my face. Yeah. That there is some part of our life which is going to be the job, the work, the, what you're going to do day in and day out for, because you're trained for it and you reasonably like to do it, you enjoy it, etc. And of course, brings in the money, right? There must be that play side of you.
Yeah.
And I think we've done enough conversations on this to say that play does not mean, cricket bat in hand. Play is
It could, but I
it
think the
could, but
idea is, yeah,
the
fulfillment and joy and
that find
satisfaction and
something
community.
that you can put your mind to
Yeah.
when the work challenges you, when you need to take a breather, when you need to give yourself some joy. Find something that you can really dig into, zone out, geek out, and have fun with, because that I think we all owe ourselves.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, it's really going to be tough to live continuously with so much ambiguity, so much unknown at work. And I think that's going to continue for a while.
Yeah.
For most, yes, largely technology, but most professions now are technology adjacent.
And also the economic implications will reach everyone, no, finally. I mean, my mom used to laugh about this, that in Hyderabad there are some pockets of the city where tomatoes will cost thrice as much because a lot of expats who've come back from the
Yeah.
US, they've looked at a vendor selling tomatoes for 20 a kilo and they've said, oh, that's all.
Yeah.
And they've said it so many times
Yeah, yeah.
that the vendor is now charging $100 for it. So the point also here is, if there are no buyers in tech, which fundamentally has always been a cohort with high disposable incomes, suddenly your D2C industry is affected, suddenly your retail is affected.
Yeah.
So the economic
cascading,
implications
yes.
of this are going to continue
Correct.
to
Correct.
happen.
Correct. No, I think work as such is never going to go away. Like the fact that you do have to get up and do something in a structured manner to bring in income, but you do have to build your areas of play. I think, and not just because, yeah, okay, everybody is talking about mental health, etc., but it's a reality.
Oh, big
There's
time,
just too
yeah.
much stress in our lives today to let it just revolve around one thing. One, you can't even afford that level of dependence, right? You must be able to move away to something, even if temporarily, and then come back.
Yeah.
Right. And finally, the build aspect, because in all of this, if you are always in the one day at a time, that's also difficult. There has to be that cathedral you're building, right? There has to be something
long-term perspective that you can,
which
yeah,
pulls you towards being curious, learning, meeting people, having conversations. And I think that comes most from the build aspect of life, right? Because many times in the build aspect of life, you don't have that clear cut goal or path yet. It's a little amorphous, and it's a little hazy, and the conversations help you clear it. The meeting of people who are unlike you help you learn more about you and what you may want to do, and what is meaningful to you, and what maybe there's a legacy that you want to leave behind with something that can be related to your work or play. It could be something completely
and it
new.
takes a while to come to also. I mean, you pick up
Yeah.
so many things you think will last for a very long time, and then for whatever reasons, both intrinsic and external, you might end up dropping them.
Yeah.
You might come back to them later, but as long as it's there, that okay, in I don't know, 5-10 years, this is a set of things that I want to see in the world out there, and I'm in the process of making that happen today. I think there's something to be proud of.
So I think so. What we finally said is that AI is leading us to work, play, build. I think we're good with that.
If that's what it is.
But let's do something fun. Because I've been thinking, we, have been tinkering with all of these tools. I mean, whoever the CEO is, God bless them. But we finally are tinkerers, and we've tried a bit of everything, right?
Yeah, most things for sure.
Right. And many times we've said, this is the colleague you don't want, or this is the colleague you've been praying for. On any given day, one of them turns up, right? When you're so maybe let's try and figure out, like, if all these tools that we keep referring to were a person and were your colleague, what kind of colleague are they? Okay. So
one is a very intrusive colleague because they have access to Google Drive, they have access to, basically everything that's on my system is known to this very omniscient colleague of mine.
But that's interesting. No, every tool, the first thing this colleague says is, "Give me access." Right? Like before, anything, it's like, "Give me access.
Yeah.
Let me just get into everything that you have and give
Yeah.
me access to your hard drive and to your brain, and just give me
Yeah,
access."
and I'm just thinking our podcast manager is also a cybersecurity consultant. I'm just curious as to what she thinks about this.
She's busy playing with her 3D printer. God bless her. Okay, so if you had to give a name to this colleague, let's have fun. Let's start with the one who got us all started in a way, ChatGPT.
But they all have names, is my point, right? Like, no, you don't think
No,
ChatGPT is a name?
no, but like, what persona is ChatGPT? Like, if they were a person.
Okay, I'm going to need to use a very specific example. So, when you are participating in community activities, you end up working with people with whom you may not have individual synergy. They're important to the
Group.
larger scheme of things, but you want to shut the door on them at 7 p.m. That is GPT to me, I think. Like, I need it to do some things, but then the enthusiasm is too much for an introvert like me.
So to me, it's like, you're right. You're in a group of people and you don't know all of them very well, but there's this one person who is so
Who's just
saccharine
dying
sweet.
to know you, like,
No,
it's
not just that. They're just saccharine sweet to everyone. And you're like, come on, isn't there something negative you want to say about something?
Yeah.
But no matter how much you try to needle them, they like are this well of positivity and hope, and it's
Now
very,
you say that with a frown on top.
No, you can't. You're right. Like, you can't do too many hours with this person, because
I mean, as much as we're joking about it, we've heard so many horror stories of people going down that rabbit hole as well, right?
you can't take so much of energy and let me help you. But in that let me help also, it's interesting. Whenever I've tried to use it for something, it'll say, okay, blah blah blah, I've got you this. Do you want that one more thing which will make this amazing? Like, why didn't you give it to me in the first place? Then again, do you want that one tip which will make this, rock the world? Like, give it to me before I ask.
Yeah, but that has changed, As of this morning, it has no problem calling out bullshit, I've realized. Like, it's not,
ChatGPT.
it's not trying to be overtly nice. It's
I
still
think you've
polite.
hurt it.
Possible.
Okay. Then the intrusive one, right? Gemini.
Oh, I have a lot to say about it. Like, my entire drive access, and still you produce this. Like, it's just so disappointing somehow. I get that it's good with production level tasks. Like, if I had to edit the same image in the same way over and over again, I think I would go to Gemini. But honestly, I've been reasonably underwhelmed by the results it has produced, because I have compared actually two projects of the same context with the same information on Claude and Gemini, and Gemini has been fundamentally disappointing somehow.
Interesting. I guess its value is that it connects everything that you might
But
have.
does it is a question I find
I'm
myself.
not sure. I've not used it in that connector
Or
way.
rather, it only connects the things that it only connects. Like, beyond that, I don't see a lot of, if there is no connection that you've added, which is needed and necessary, then it falls flat.
Okay. So it's the person who organizes the
Is
team
my
lunch.
perception. Perhaps,
And then leaves it at that.
Yeah,
basically.
maybe.
Now the colleague that's actually worth considering is Claude, I must say.
Yeah.
Okay. She is good at what she does.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
No wonder.
Right? Like, So that's why um, she can write really well. She can analyze quite well. Probably what she doesn't do much of is create images and stuff. That I don't think is a
No,
forte.
it actually does a good job there as well, I've realized. Especially, like, I think sometimes when you're trying to build proof of concept, right? You don't want to put your entire team and resources on proof of concept, right? Like, it's like trying to, I don't know, do a Khan's pitch when you don't have actual business. So you don't want to be doing, that kind of work. So in those contexts, I found that when you give it written material, it's actually very good at saying these are probably the images that you should create, and it does good job of mocking them up. Of course, they will look very Claude. You know what I mean, right? Like, but they're really good. I would not. creative images, probably it might
Yeah.
struggle. But like I
But
wouldn't
what
ask it
is
to make a logo.
fun about Claude as a colleague is she keeps telling you how hard she's working.
Oh
And I
yeah.
find that hilarious.
Sometimes a bit too much.
Yeah,
honestly.
I went through all the files and I did this and I
Yeah,
wrote
I pulled that
HTML
skill file
and I
and-
converted it to Java and then I went to C++ and I came back to HTML and I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, where's my output? Right?
Also, the thing with Claude, and I've had 3 different people, actually 4 of us, use the same skill file that we had built for the same purpose, right? To do the same job. Claude amplifies your best worst trait.
Okay.
What I mean by that is, so when one of our colleagues was using it, she's a very efficiency person, right? Like she needs the no bullshit version. So her Claude doesn't show her this thinking and all.
Oh.
It just gives her, this is the output, this is where I would put it and move on. Right. Then we have another colleague who's very nitpicky about every single thing.
The steps.
Like every document has to be followed, every.
Show me the working type teacher. Yeah.
Or if there are 20 things that should have been done here, let's do 22, is his approach to how he goes about this. To him, honestly, the same work has become a repeat effort of what was already there. So I think it amplifies your innate. I wonder. I'm not able to reflect and say that same thing about myself at this point, but I'm sure it's amplifying something that I.
Sure. No, it is a really, it's a fairly decent colleague. End of the day,
It's probably the best
tolerate
in
it
the,
for your 8-hour working day.
Yeah.
You can tolerate it. Speaking of tolerate, Microsoft Copilot.
I will be honest, I've not tried Copilot.
Yeah, so I have not tried it directly. I've tried it as already, the use case of it acting like a coach and,
Okay.
in certain platforms. Pretty decent, and it's good in, transcribing, transcripting, reading from that and all of that. I think it's still a very large enterprise kind
I
of
see.
tool.
Okay.
So that's why probably both of us don't
Makes sense. Yeah,
experiment.
yeah.
First is we've not paid for the license, so start
Also
from
true.
there. Yeah. Then that colleague who does a PhD on everything. The smallest of things, they have to read 20 articles before they tell you that yes,
Yeah.
the sun rises, is Perplexity.
Yeah.
Right?
Somehow I have a feeling Perplexity will end up getting absorbed by one of the
One
others.
of these,
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
Yeah. More because I think the founder will get bored and move on. I don't know,
No, I think in fact, on the other hand, I think their heart is so much in the right place, and their purpose, therefore, is so crystal clear that the best way for them to have gone ahead with this is to become part of, I think.
Because also I think it has a strength which the others don't, which is that it's very good at
very
research
accurate citations.
and
Yeah.
it's accurate. Because Claude will,
Exactly.
I don't know about Claude, but
No,
ChatGPT
Claude
will
also.
hallucinate.
Claude,
right?
more than hallucinate, I think the problem with Claude is it links to things that don't exist, which sometimes is that a hell because ChatGPT is telling you something exists without it even being
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Claude is just giving you a link and saying, I pulled it from here. And when you click on it, half the time that link is, yeah.
I don't know, we've created things where we have to just keep verifying what it does, right?
100%.
We've made ourselves glorified
And I've
tool
said
managers.
this about writing using, especially when you're doing subject matter writing, you may not be the subject matter expert in every goddamn thing that you're working on. It's impossible, right? But at least to have that bullshit filter, because what happens otherwise is you end up with an article, but I have to think 100 times before sending it out because I'm so worried something about it is wrong.
And the last one that I've tried is Notebook LLM, which honestly I'm bored of the look. Like it produces an output which looks
It's
the
fairly
same, and
standard.
today like even Modi ji had an ad with it. So I can see that color combination and that like really good infographic.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't deny it, and it's easy to use. You just you put the YouTube link of any of our episodes, it'll give you this brilliant infographic.
Yeah.
But you know that nobody's going to read a word because there's just so much on it.
Funnily, I like NotebookLM for learning about the new clients that we're working with. because the mind maps and the, it's
So yeah, I
just
think
easier
specific
to
use
process.
cases, it's
Yeah, and
yeah.
as I'm sure you've also done this for a while, you know that when you ask people for references, they dump like a 3-hour webinar on you. They dump all sorts of things, right?
Correct.
So half of it is not useful.
Yeah.
So for me to even figure out what is and isn't useful, sometimes just putting it all through notebook and then doing the mind map is very easy to learn from.
So it's that peer who's useful kind of.
Research.
Yeah.
Research is a far reach, but yeah.
What already exists, it's kind of
Yeah.
summarizing in a good way.
My notebook, actually. Oh, not
Yeah.
bad, huh? Good name choice.
And the last one I have on this list, I don't think either. Have you used Grok?
So, Grok is
Oh my
our
God, yes.
employee who we have never seen, I think. Right?
We don't want to see also.
This is the one tool that doesn't have, I think, access to anything because I've never used it. I really have no clue what it does, and therefore I cannot.
See, unfortunately, like
Your curiosity is the problem. I'm sure you have done something.
No,
with
I
this.
haven't because it's a little too edgy for me.
I see.
And I don't like the name. So those two put together, I haven't gone near it. And
how is it edgy? Like what
isn't
about
it filled with like naked photos of people and
I
stuff?
have no idea.
So no, that's why. So that's why I haven't given it access to anything.
Really that bad?
I think so. I think this this colleague is going to breach the code of conduct.
Oh gosh.
very soon. But I don't think we're missing out on much. So
Okay,
we're okay. So what have we not the
image
folks
generation,
like you,
right? Like I think there are videos as well. There's Midjourney, there's DALL-E. There are quite a few. Imagen, Nano Banana. There is also one or two video tools that are not coming to me right now. Honestly, it depends on the person using them. I've realized, like I have seen some fantastic results from all of these tools, but the degree of prompting and clarity on what was needed was.
But that I think is across tools that many times it takes you to 98% of the job done and has saved you 8 hours. And that next 2% will take you personally 3 days to do.
And I'm just thinking, say I have someone in the system whose design I basically love, right? Like, and that's why we choose to work together. So I would be okay with him building the Figma files and Replit doing the development. But say I didn't have a designer in the system, would I still feel the same way? Is the question I keep asking. Like, how much of it is access and how much of it is actually good taste and wanting good work product? I don't know, honestly. With a lot of these creative tools, I think that's where my judgment is a little.
Fair enough. And I guess the one which we are yet to try or expose ourselves to is the very Indian Sarvam AI, which I think if you're building something for India, and I know there are larger projects, government projects to kind of create our own, homegrown tools. But I think Sarvam is a good one to use or to at least explore its capabilities in the India landscape. Is what I'm hearing. So
I have to be honest, I've not used it, but maybe now's the time.
So there are a lot of colleagues to choose from, and like any, I think strangely, like any office place, you need a bit of all of them. Right? Like, unfortunately, even in this artificial creation, we haven't created that one.
And maybe that's not such a bad thing.
No, that's not bad because then again it comes down to then one organization, one person, etc. We need to be able to
diversify and
spread it across and experiment, and each of them also have different levels of control and different levels of the what are their ethics around the data that they handle, and
that is a big,
there are a lot of dark sides. There are a lot of dark sides to it. But the world of work definitely completely changing. The way we humans interact has to change. I think we just have to strangely just become more human, right? Like do things that we're good at doing, talk to each other,
that we forgot for a while, I think.
Communicate, support, do things we enjoy and love while there is this world of work that's going to change so rapidly.
And maybe it's going to be a best of both.
Maybe.
Let's
Let's
hope.
see. That's it for now. Bye, folks. Remember to like, share, subscribe, pass this on to a friend, put it in a WhatsApp group. Just please do something. Bye.
So, for today's Read, Watch, Listen segment, I have a listen recommendation. It's actually a book, but the audio format is fantastic because you can hear the sarcasm come through. The book is called Men Explain Things to Me by Rebecca Solnit and other essays on the same subject. What's interesting to me is yes, the title is very catchy and clickbaity, and it opens with I think something that has happened to every woman who considers herself an expert on anything anywhere in the world. But then it also takes a very gendered lens, it takes an economic lens to why is it that in a system where we could be seeing each other as human beings, we tend to create differences, and where does the divergence really begin? So, this series of essays is a really fantastic primer. I think if you can listen with an open mind, it's a great listen for people of all genders.
My Read, Watch, Listen is a book. It's The Correspondent by Virginia Evans. And it's a book that is entirely, the story is told through written letters, emails, and various forms of correspondence, little notes, etc. And the central character is a retired lawyer in her 70s in the US. I think over a decade of these exchanges, we learn about who she is, who she was, her family, her relationships, her friends. I think it kind of took the world by fire simply because I think we've forgotten about the written word in that sense that somebody would sit down and write a letter and also write an email, and you can kind of do both, and that's still okay, but you're still through your correspondence so much comes through about who you are, who you wanted to be, your regrets, who you wish you could still be, and all of that. I think it's just beautifully comes together.